From Penridge Stadium here in Percy, Pennsylvania, CWTAP Sports is proud to present NPSL Soccer. This evening, it's the Buxmont Torch playing host to the visiting FC Copa. There's a lot on the line tonight, and we'll talk about that as the first half goes on. Alex Fidroshevsky joined in the box tonight by Rob Celentano. Tony D doing the camera work, and we're very blessed to have him back in the studio after a leave of absence and a well-earned vacation. He rejoins the CWTAP team. Rob will be bringing you the starting lineups momentarily, just finishing transposing that information since it's given to us a little bit late by FC Copa, so everybody's still trying to sort all that out here up in the press box. And we are underway. The Buxmont Torch, they're in their orange and white. They'll be moving from left to right on your TV screen here in the first half. And FC Copa, the newest addition to the Keystone Conference out of Metuchen, New Jersey, they'll be in the reds with white trim moving from right to left. And while this is Copa's first year as an NPSL side, most of their roster is comprised of players who have professional experience at a wide variety of levels throughout the world, ranging from Major League Soccer and the New York Red Bulls to SuperSport United and the South African Premier League and others. Some of those players not dressed tonight, so unfortunately we'll miss out on that treat, but they do still have a very full roster. There's a ball played over the top, offside, and the Torch catch a break here early on. And Rob looks like he's settling in and joining us here tonight. How are you doing this evening, Rob?
Doing good. Really hot day out today. Alex and I, we actually stopped at the store, picked up a fan for the press box. No AC here, but that's okay. Feeling a little bit better than the players and the fans out there in this 91-degree heat. So it's going to be a hot one, especially for those players and the referees running around on the pitch. But looking forward to a great game. NJ Copa, if they can get the 3 points today with a win or a draw, they actually clinch the playoffs as they are 3 points ahead of third place. So a draw here today would clinch that playoff spot. And how are you doing, Alex?
Trying to catch up on this roster here from FC Copa as Tommy Kasoko plays the ball through the midfield. Number 13, that's Angelo Jack slamming the ball forward for Copa. He's outside wing midfielder, it looks like, for them. And again, we're trying just to sort this whole roster out, and we'll get through FC Copa's lineup. Rob, you want to introduce the Buxmont Torch tonight?
Yeah, Buxmont. We've seen some fairly new faces out there, but the always reliable Chris Lawson is in goal. You know, from Bryan College, he's been great this year. Very, very reliable keeper. Campbell Wayland out of Lafayette is at defense today, alongside Caleb Williams, Kostya Khan. Those two together, one from Southeastern University and Khan from Bethesda. I think they're two of the strongest players on this roster. And to finish out the back line, we got Andrew Johnson. We have Eric Torres in midfield today. He's out of Bethany College. I believe he's from Columbia, Alex. And we got Tommy Kasoko, who you mentioned earlier. We'll talk a little bit more about in the broadcast. He's from Liberty University, along with Khalil Carl, also from Liberty, and Chase Hovius, who's been great this season from Liberty as well. We have Brady Dorman. He's a new face kind of to the starting roster, so it's going to be nice for him to get some minutes tonight to finish out the midfield. Looking at a Vontez Hilliard is the sole striker today out of Rider University, and his brother Vontae is on the bench today. So, Alex, let's see what the FC Copa's got stacked up for us.
All right, we've got FC Copa's roster, I should say, figured out here now. We were given a roster with no positions, so we had to wait till the game started to actually figure out how they were going to line up. Chris Duggan, number 0, he's in the sunshine shirt there in goal, all yellow all the way through. Over the ball right now, number 7, midfielder Daniel Mendoza. That's cleared away. Kelvin Preciado in the back, Dan Pizzamenti in the back. Number 20 is Preciado to Pizzamenti. Number 13 on the near side is Angelo Jack. Also in the center of the park, number 5, Dakota Edwards. He's on the near side. Number 9 is Rafael Araujo. He's had the shaved head in the center of the screen. Number 11, midfielder Andrew Santos. Number 14 is midfielder Mike Prosuk. And number 10 is midfielder Emerson Lawrence. That rounds out the roster for FC Copa this evening. And unfortunately here, Rob, all day you and I had been talking about on our prep and in our prep meetings and at our lunch about the quote-unquote star power that FC Copa brought to this division of the NPSL. And unfortunately, every single one of those players that we were salivating to see not dressed this evening.
Yeah, all day we've been talking about it. We got a guy from First Division Uruguay, Andres Beriel, probably pronouncing that one wrong. And as well as him, we have Sakir Hott, former New York Red Bull. I'll talk about him in a second. And to round that out, we have Awal Ahmed, who played for Supersport United, First Division South African club. And they were very successful for a couple years there. I think they came in first place for 3 years in a row, around 2009-ish or so. But to talk a little bit about Sakir Hott as FC Copa with the diving header. Talk a little bit more about Sakir Hott. He actually he did play for the New York Red Bulls under Hans Baca. Played only in a couple games. One in U.S. Open Cup might have been his biggest appearance as they beat the former FC New York. And he also trialed, I don't think a lot of people know, he trialed with Borussia Mönchengladbach as well as Borussia Dortmund. But Dortmund, he didn't get a call back, and he got an offer from Mönchengladbach, not to sign with the team, but to come back and train with them a bit. But at the time, Baca and company offered him a contract with the New York Red Bulls, so he decided to go there. And after the Red Bulls, I think he went to go play in 4th Division Germany, and hasn't been much in the professional scene, but here he is now making a name in the NPSL.
That's right. Played for KSV Hessen Kassel in 2013. That was in the Fußball Regionalliga. That's one of the lower divisions in Germany. And it was pretty surprising that he was let go by Red Bull as quickly as they brought him in. He was a homegrown player, kind of an off-the-books kind of guy. Didn't count against the salary cap as a result of it. And, got a couple appearances, just didn't pan out. I think Red Bull has since figured out their academy system much better. And he is now playing here in the NPSL. And when he is on the field, is a strong presence for this FC Copa team, which is very close to clinching a playoff berth. That's Araujo over the ball. Takes a step into the 18, has an opportunity, tries to get a cross away. That's blocked by Johnson, and will go out for a throw-in. Ten minutes played, 0-0 the score between FC Copa and the Buxmont Torch. They'll go all the way back to the goalkeeper, Duggan.
Had to double check myself about Supersport United. They actually did come in first 3 years in a row from 2007 up until 2010. And for those of you who care about South African soccer,
I do.
As Alex yells, I do. I don't know if the mic picked that up, but they came in 8th this past year, 2015 and 2016 season. So I don't know if they're going to improve any much, but if you enjoy your first division South African soccer, NJ Copa has a former player on its team. Sadly, today we're not going to see any of these 3 players we're talking about, but we are going to see a fairly good roster from Copa. You want to speak a little bit about that, Alex?
Yeah, this is a team that's built a lot of depth out of some of the other semi-professional leagues here in the Northeast, specifically out of the ASL, which began about 2 years ago and features teams from Philadelphia, North Jersey. Two of the teams actually are in North Jersey. One is out of Newark, and then the other is Icon FC out of Clifton. A handful of their players have played at that level, so they do have some type of pay-for-play experience, whereas the Buxmont Torch, again, we talked about this for most of the season, are a completely amateur side, and are getting now to the point where I think they may be in the Keystone Conference one of the only fully amateur sides that's left, as Preciado clears the ball out of the back in the direction of Araujo. Prosuk shielding away Kostya Khan. Goes out for a throw-in. Angelo Jack to take. Pressure from Torres. Copa will look to switch, and they do. Be a throw-in. Off the chest from Jack. Plays back. Preciado. Pressure coming from Vontez Hilliard. Settled in the midfield. Tommy Kasoko. Kasoko looks to play one into the middle. Takes a bounce off the turf and is cleared out. And an opportunity will play the advantage for FC Copa. Kasoko comes back, wins the ball away, plays back to Lawson. And Buxmont will look to build from the defense. Number 10, Campbell Wayland. Buxmont plays out of the back towards Hilliard. He can't get there. Settled in the midfield by FC Copa. Number 10, Emerson Lawrence. Lawrence plays a through ball, an opportunity. Turns, shot, fires, and just over the goal. That's tipped out by Chris Lawson. Got his fingertips to it, and he'll keep it out. It's corner kick coming up for FC Copa. And if you're a fan of the corner kick on CWTAP, we've got quite the show for you this coming Monday. That'll be the 11th. Rob and I will be in studio at 8 p.m. We'll have two guests, Mark Fishkin from Seeing Red, Red Bull New York podcast, and Josh Gesman from Corner of the Galaxy. It's about the Los Angeles Galaxy, so we've got two great guests coming up on Monday evening, 8 p.m. on the corner kick. And Rob, speaking of Red Bull, a little disappointing this weekend from a fan standpoint.
For sure, to go to Yankee Stadium and lose to NYCFC, I believe it was 2-0. It is heartbreaking as a Red Bulls fan. You and I were listening to it on Sirius XM while working the other day, driving around. And it is a shame to see, but I think it's good for the league and it's good for the rivalry, that NYCFC was able to notch a win against the Red Bulls. If not, the Red Bulls would have went 5-0 against NYCFC with a crazy goal deficit, or with a crazy goal differential, rather. So it was good to see NYCF get a win, and I think that, a majority of that comes from their roster. The starting roster was a lot different than the 7-0 defeat they faced against the New York Red Bulls. You got to see Ariola, the former Atletico Bilbao defender. He was playing center defensive mid. You saw Lampard and Pirlo pair up in the midfield to help play out the back, and then you saw the always reliable and top goal scorer right now, David Villa. So, the team was really, really good against the Red Bulls, and I can't really fault them. And speaking of the Red Bulls, they are currently, as this broadcast is being recorded, playing Club America from Liga MX. But Alex, how do you think this game's going so far for Buxmont?
First 15 minutes have been about as good as you could ask for here, Rob. They haven't given up any real clear scoring chances. There was one called back for an offside, so good job defensively to get that line to step forward. But on the whole, this is a roster that's really holding it together, and at the same time, there's a great save from Lawson to deny FC Copa a very good scoring chance. As I say that, of course, there's your commentator's curse. But it's been pretty good so far. You can't complain. Yes, Copa's missing probably their 4 or 5 best players. But nevertheless, this is still one of the top 2 teams right now in the division. And a team that with a draw clinches a playoff spot and really seals this whole thing up for the last game of the season. It would take away a lot of the drama for the middle of the pack. But at the same time, it can also show a lot of confidence from Copa that they can get through a game like this without having to expend the energy with those star players, if you want to call them that at this level, and I think that's the best way to describe them, star players. Because when you do get into the playoffs, you'll need those guys to be able to go 90 minutes 3 times a week. And that's a tall order. At any level, much less here in the MPSL. Hilliard is offside, and we'll take a restart. 17 minutes played, 0-0 between FC Copa and the Buxmont Torch here on CWTAP. We'd like to thank St. Luke's University Health Network for being a CWTAP sports sponsor here in 2016. They've got 6 hospitals and over 150 physician sites throughout the Lehigh Valley. Check them out, 1-866 St. Luke's or www.slhn.org. Kasoko plays the ball forward, only as far as Pizzamenti at right back for FC Copa. Lawrence tries to send the ball on a switch, goes out of bounds. Kasoko looks long. Bit of a hospital ball there from Tommy Kasoko, and an opportunity for Copa. Angelo Jack. Prosuk. Arujo. Prosuk in the 18. Falls to him. Fighting for possession. Khan tries to shoulder him off. And finally has to play it into touch.
That's my biggest fear for tonight is the miscommunication in the back line for the Buxmont Torch. I mean, we have Campbell Wayland and Andrew Johnson really in that center back pairing for the first time together. And I think we might see a little bit of a trouble spark there. And that's not to say it's exactly their faults, but rather the playing time and trying to get that chemistry down for the first time playing together. But Kostya Khan did a good job to help his fellow center backs out, and he's doing a great job tonight as FC Copa tries to regain possession.
Well, I think it's interesting again when you talk to Coach Sparling about this organization and you're using truly amateur players, college players, whereas a lot of these teams have brought in players who are now youth coaches in their academy systems, things like that, where there's still a bit of a pay-to-play atmosphere as Torres turns over the ball and has to wheel away from pressure from 4 Copa midfielders. Switch from Tommy Kasoko. There's a good ball over the top. A little too far for Chase Hovius. It'll be a throw-in, but to complete that thought, if you talk to Coach Sparling and you have these college players, you don't want to send them back to their teams injured. You don't want to send them back to their teams on tired legs before their collegiate seasons even start. And for a lot of these players who are at Division I schools, Division II schools, they're on full scholarships or partial scholarships. So there's a little bit of money involved that way. So they have to be aware of that at a club like the Buxmont Torch as Khan goes to ground from a late challenge, I should say, from Prosa. Khan is down, will play on, and now we will finally stop. Bernard Shambusho is the center official. He'll blow the play dead, but you have to be careful about how much you play the amateurs because it's now July, and yes, the season's over on Sunday. It'll be the 10th, and that's it. But if you're one of those teams who makes the playoffs, well, now you could be playing until August. And then to have to send kids back to college and play immediately after they've come to you from playing a spring season, that's a lot on a young player's legs. That's not to say they can't handle it, but it is still a lot on a young player's legs, and those are delicate relationships because, again, with fully amateur players from colleges, you have to maintain these good relationships to bring them back. So I think that brings about a little bit of Buxmont's roster rotation, whereas you see with teams like Binghamton, like Clarkstown, where these are, they're not getting paid to play now, but a lot of them are involved in other aspects. These guys are pro players, and for the most part, and they can go on a different schedule than a lot of the college kids. You're not tied to a relationship with a college coach who sends you 5 guys every year. So it's a difficult balancing act, but they seem to be figuring it out here at Buxmont. And again, this year, you didn't really know what to expect. There was so much turnover with only 5 players, but I think we've seen the difference from our first game when we were here with Junior Lone Star to now. The increase in continuity, the increase in quality is definitely there for the Buxmont Torch. Arujo pressured by Wayland, and Kasoko helps win that one away. Wayland with a poor ball, but Torres will gather. Torres hits it off of Dorman. Dorman was in an offside position, so we will bring it back. 23rd minute, Buxmont 0, FC Copa 0 here on CWTAP. Preciado forward out of the back, headed away by Whalen. Hackett playing forward through to Arujo. There's a shot that's broken up by Caleb Williams. And Rob, he's another guy who I think we've both been pretty impressed with this year. He's grown quite a bit in a very short time. And he's the kind of player, if you can get him back next year, he's a leader in the back for you.
Yeah, Caleb Williams is one of those guys we were talking about before the game started. We were talking a little bit about, who on this team we could see going farther than the NPSL. Who could possibly go pro? And I know you mentioned Tommy Kazoko, but another one of those guys was Caleb Williams, and definitely from the both of us, I think we can agree that Kashta Khan is another one. Those fullbacks are, both of them really, I feel like, are at the right time in their lives, and the performances they put, strictly just from seeing them this season, has really, really impressed me. And we spoke a little bit to Kashta Khan after the last game, and you could see, after that draw, they were up. Buxmont, I think they were up 2-0, and then they ended up drawing 2-2 after the 80th minute. He was really hanging his head. He really took that draw almost as if it was a loss. You could see he's a guy that has that almost professional mentality, and he wants to win games, and he wants his teammates to be better, and most importantly, he wants himself to probably be the best that he can be. So, these are two guys, especially in my head, that I see having a future in professional soccer.
Shot deflected out for a corner. Looks like we'll have our first substitution. Number 3 is Dennis Correa. We'll see who he checks in for. He'll check in for number 2, Dan Pizzamenti. We've got a corner kick coming up and an opportunity. Swung in. It's off the chest, cleared away by Andrew Johnson.
Let's speak a little bit about the sub, Dennis Correa. He's out of Elizabeth, New Jersey, goes to Keene University, and his last team was in the American Soccer League, the ASL, with the Philadelphia Fury.
Entering the match, number 3, Dennis Correa, replacing number 2, Dan Pizzamenti.
And to speak a little bit about his former club, Alex, Philadelphia Fury in the ASL, it's started to become, a very respectable team, especially for NPSL teams, and for NPSL teams to look at the ASL to try to get some of those guys. I know they had a game against Ibar, I believe, a couple months ago. Your thoughts on them specifically?
Philadelphia Fury are owned by Matt Driver. He is the ASL CEO. There's a corner kick taken by Torres. Headed away.
Thank you.
And I think the Fury are a good organization. There's an opportunity. Offside was Whalen, and a quick outlet. We'll see if Araujo can get there. He can't. It's over. Kashta Khan on the clearance. Goes out of bounds for a throw-in. Quickly taken. Araujo turns. Off the chest. Nice settle and a good block there from who else but number 14, Caleb Williams. But again, to speak to the Fury, it's an interesting team. It's an interesting organization. Matt Driver, I think, has some bigger goals. He's seeking some investors to take the Fury to the NASL. I know that's something that they're very interested in, to get another Philadelphia area team into a higher level of professional soccer. He built that team originally mostly of junior Lone Star players. In 2014, 2015, and has built a winner there. They've got a very, very good program, good team, in a league that is flying under the radar but starting to grow. They're up to 10 teams this year, mostly in the Northeast. And I think it's something to watch. A former Buxmont player, Nick Morris, we were just told is playing with the Philadelphia Fury this year. Morris was a very talented attacker, hit a beautiful, beautiful goal against the Jersey Blues last year. As a cross served up and cleared away by Khalil Carl. Hilliard goes to the ground after a challenge from Angelo Jack. That'll be a free kick to the Torch, but Morris hit a screamer of a goal against the Jersey Blues. We've got a whistle, We'll wait to see what it is. Looks like a free kick for the Buxmont Torch as Araujo got close to... Never mind, scratch that. They'll call a foul on Chris Lawson? That's a very interesting call there from the official, Rob. I'm not sure I've ever seen a call really like that go against the goalkeeper on a 50-50.
At first, the way they were lining up, it almost looked like it was going to be a drop ball, and then he called a foul on Chris Lawson, so now it looks like Copa's going to get a free kick, and we saw from their last free kick they can definitely be dangerous, so let's see what they can do here.
Emerson Lawrence is over the ball. We're in the 30th minute. He goes at goal, and Lawson bobbles it, gets over it, and covers it up. Did a good job to recover there. But again, I think the ASL is a league to watch. It is growing. They're looking for more franchises here in the Northeast before they expand their footprint. Lawson plays the ball out of bounds. He did take a shot to the midsection there, and we'll see what kind of medical attention he may need. But again, Rob, I think it's a good league, and it's a good place to grow players. And I know they're right now listed as a 5th-tier league, but I know that they are paying their players. They are a professional league. I'm not sure if they're getting a livable wage, but they are paying their players something to be there, so there is a professional aspect to it. And one of their teams, actually, Icon, is close to me, and just played a friendly against the 2nd division team from Poland. Icon was at Clifton High School about 2 weeks ago. Took on Stal Mielec, who won the Polish 3rd League last year. Came over as part of an American preseason tour and had 5 in by the half. So it shows the gap between the United States and the rest of the world. But again, those are full-timers against guys getting some type of compensation to play. Icon ended up losing that one to Stal Mielec 6-1.
Ladies and gentlemen, just a reminder that...
And it's something, though, for the United States worth watching.
Water, Gatorade...
The ASL definitely presents some routes for these soccer players. You know, it might be a 5th division side, but, you know, some of these 5th division sides are way better than the number. You know, one that comes to mind is PSA Elite in the U.S. Open Cup. Almost every year they're making a big challenge. I think it was 2 years ago, or maybe last year, they went all the way to go up against the LA Galaxy and MLS. And you mentioned the Fury and their dream of one day playing in the NASL. Actually, we have a former NASL player on Copa, and I forgot to mention him in our quote-unquote big-name players. But he is a backup goalkeeper, so maybe that's okay. But his name's Matt Perella, and he played for the Carolina Railhawks in the NASL, as Chris Lawson seems to be okay, and we're going to get back underway with around 31 minutes or so.
One more thing about the ASL, Matt Driver had stated that the league's goal is to eventually achieve Division III status in the U.S. soccer pyramid, at which point that means you are full-time. They have a ways to go before that, and I think the only way they'll get licensing as a D3 league is if there is, and JJ and I have talked about this, a merger between the USL and the NASL, which I don't think is going to happen just for the sake of market size. Here's an opportunity. A shot driven wide from Dan Mendoza. But I don't see that happening. Bill Peterson of the NASL is adamant that they're going to get to 20 teams in the next couple of seasons. The USL, at the rate they're expanding, will probably hit 50 before the NASL hits 20. It seems like anyone willing to pay the expansion fee and have a market right gets into that league. However, it is better run every year, and I think after the USL is in, you're talking 20, 25 years in, I think it is really finally hitting its stride. And I watched some of the July 4th games. Some good crowds. Pittsburgh almost sold out. Louisville came up with about 6,000-7,000, which I know in the grand scheme of things doesn't seem like a big number, but when you think about, say, single A baseball in a smaller market, if they're getting 4,000 or 5,000, well, that's a good day. So the same thing applies to soccer in those markets. If you're getting 4,000 or 5,000 in a Louisville market in a baseball stadium that only holds 10,000, well, that's a good day. And I think that that's the only way the ASL gets there, though, is if you see a merger. But if I was a betting man, as long as Bill Peterson's in charge of the NASL, there's no way that's happening.
Yeah, and when you're talking about 4th division, even 3rd division sides in U.S. soccer, anytime you're drawing in the thousands, I think is always good. I mean, Albuquerque sold the other day. They were playing at University of New Mexico. They're a PDL team for those of you who aren't big on your lower league soccer. But my guess is if you're watching this, you probably are. They drew around 2,000, and that was an off day for them. So, there's always anomalies. You see teams like Detroit in the NPSL, they're drawing 9,000 some days. You see teams like Nashville or even FC Tucson who are pulling their number as well. With 9 minutes left in this match, I feel like this half is going to end 0-0. I just realized before I said there was 31 minutes left, but I always forget the score clock here at Penridge High School counts down instead of up. Time flies when you're up in the press box.
And we're always having a good time up here as well. Everybody shares a good laugh, and it's a great event to be a part of. If you've never been, there is one more home game for the Buxmont Torch this season. That will be Sunday, 5 o'clock against Binghamton FC. As Araujo gets inside the 18, looks to make a move. Whalen steps in. Kashtakan shielding the ball away. Plays back. Whalen. Kashtakan. Whalen again in the corner. Plays forward out of the back towards Hilliard. Torres knocks it forward. Back into the mix. That'll fall to Dan Mendoza. Kasoko knocks it away. Back towards Mendoza. He runs away as a dummy. There's a shot blocked by Andrew Johnson, who's been fearless there in the back today. Torres gets pulled down. We'll see if you get a yellow card for that one. It looks like we might. That looks like... Check that. That's Hovius who goes to ground.
Blonde hair.
Both he and Torres are sporting the same bleached look. Looks like the player will escape without a card. That was Andrew Santos who committed the foul. However, another man down, that's number 13, Angelo Jack, will take this time to thank the College Hill Tavern, 420 Cattell Street in Easton, for being a CWTAP sports sponsor for good food, good drink, and good company. It's the Melhem family's fine establishment there. College Hill Tavern, 420 Cattell Street in Easton, 7 days a week from 12 noon until 2 a.m., with food served until midnight daily. And you never know who you'll find over there. It might be myself and Rob grabbing a lunch, or our intrepid baseball man, Jack Logic, grabbing a beer with some doctors and lawyers that work with him for the baseball after the games. And it's all right there, just 2 blocks from Lafayette at the College Hill Tavern, located 420 Cattell Street in the fightin' city of Easton. Put the ball back into play. Swung on the near side is Dorman. Torres short. Maybe a missed opportunity there. Torres back to Dorman. They look for a nifty little 1-2. Vontez Hilliard back. Dorman with his left foot. That one is about 10 yards wide, but a decent sequence there from the Buxmont Torch, Rob. They were able to establish a little bit of possession. Dorman maybe a little late on that cross attempt. Probably should have hit that a little sooner. But they've held their own today thus far in the first half, as we're now in the 40th minute. And as of right now, I'll give them a solid B+ on their performance, and defensively, I'll give them an A.
Yeah, they really strengthened up the back line, and they tightened the center back pairings a bit, it seems, and they've just been a lot more reliable back there. In terms of an offensive push, I'm gonna have to give them a B, just below that B+ that you give them. Haven't seen a lot of dangerous attacks. I think that was probably one of two I've seen today where it looked like they might have a goal, but. As time goes on, this team starts to look better and better, minute by minute. I think they really build that chemistry as time goes on, and hopefully that means big things for this team. As Kosta Khan actually does a nice little move there on Mike Prozac, who actually nutmegged him earlier in the game, so a nice little revenge there for him. Sort of a Ronaldo chop of sorts. Or a Cruyff turn.
Looks like we'll have a substitution coming in. Number 23 is Andres Barriel. And it looks like he'll replace number 13, Angelo Jack.
Oh, he is. And Andres Barriel is actually one of the guys from that we were talking about earlier. He is the player from First Division Uruguay. I'm not going to even try to attempt to pronounce the team's name, as I'll just butcher it. Maybe Alex can do a little bit of a better job. But he goes to Keene University. He's actually out of Elizabeth. Alex, can you give that Uruguayan club a try at pronunciating?
Sure. El Tanque Cisle is the Uruguayan club that Andres Barriel previously played with. Khan will go in the book in the 42nd minute for that late challenge. And, well, here's a treat. We get to see a professional grade player here in Barriel for the next 50 minutes or so. Very excited about that. And it'll be a free kick with Lawrence over the ball. Barriel. Khan does a good job to close him out and not let him turn. Help comes from Torres. Khalil Carl wins it away. And here's Tommy Kasoko with plenty of room to come out of the back. Williams. Hovius. Williams makes the overlapping run. A little late there from Hovius. Ball stays in bounds. Prozac. Barriel. 1-2. Back to him. Great ball there from Barriel. Stepping in to break it up is Andrew Johnson. Can't retain possession. And an opportunity here for FC Copa. Barriel over the ball. Khan tries to stand him up. Barriel takes a shot. Blocked by Kosta Khan. Header from Prozac. Safely into the hands of the waiting Chris Lawson. Khan did a good job there, Rob, to shut down Barriel. Got to close down those shooting angles.
Yeah, and what it is to treat, to see him play today. But Kosta Khan, I mean, what can you say about him? He is always, I've been using this word a lot today, reliable. I could see him playing some pro ball in the future.
The referee has issued a yellow caution card.
Chris Lawson out to Caleb Williams.
To Kosta Khan in the 42nd minute. Here's an opportunity for FC Copa, broken up by Campbell Wayland. And I got to tell you, Rob, you're doing a good job here because we're trying to pull double duty here with Buxmont tonight, trying to do a little of the public address announcements and do our coverage for CWTAP. But I think now that we've figured out Copa's roster, we've settled into our groove, and we're good to go here. Hovius on the far side cuts it back. Kosoko out of that central defensive midfield spot. Switch over the top to Kostya Khan. He's got him right on the chest. Khan sends a hard cross in. Nobody there. Falls to Hovius at the edge of the 18. Lays that off. Torres, one touch. His shot is blocked. And it'll be a corner kick here for the Buxmont Torch. Duggan got both hands on it. But, Rob, first real chance of the game.
That was great, and the shot was amazing as well. Kostya Khan really whipped that ball into the box, so it's nice to see him getting in on the attack. And we got a corner kick. This could be huge for the Buxmont Torch if they can score here.
Sent in, cleared away, only as far as Khan. We'll see if he lines one up, and he does. That's wide of the goal. But that's a shot that I like. I think you take that no matter what. And see what happens. As we have now entered the final 2 minutes of the first half. 0-0 between FC Copa and the Buxmont Torch. Williams. Kosoko. Kosoko with plenty of room. Khalil Carl. Carl switch to Campbell Whalen, Kostya Khan. Dorman. And now Vontez Hilliard on the near side. Looks to get past Preciado. Shoulders him away over the ball. Vontez Hilliard looks to hit a cross. That'll go out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in for the Buxmont Torch and an opportunity here within the final minute or so of regulation in the first half. Coming over to take the throw-in will be number 9, Andrew Johnson, as Hilliard goes near post. And Hilliard posts up right in front of the goalkeeper. Goes in from Johnson and into the hands of Chris Duggan. Will get no stoppage time. And at the end of the first half of play, it's FC Copa 0 and the Buxmont Torch 0. We'll be back with analysis and the second half of Buxmont Torch and FC Copa after these commercial messages. You are tuned into NPSL Soccer on CWTAP. And we're back here at Penridge Stadium in Percy. Alex Fidrishevsky, Rob Celentano, Tony D doing the camera work tonight. You'll get to see him at Kutztown tomorrow. The newest addition to our CWTAP team. Clock. Yep. There's a shot blocked by Tommy Kosoko. An opportunity here for FC Copa. Cross is sent to Mendoza. Mendoza again over the ball. Through ball is not there. Kostya Khan tries to close his man off. Does. Goes out of bounds. That'll be off Khan and a corner kick. Entering the match for Buxmont. Cleared off the line. Good job defensively there by Torres. Very impressive to deny a goal, because that one, Rob, that was in. Got his head to it and cleared it out. Try to sort out some substitutions that have entered the game now. Midfielder number 17, Phil Haggerty, is in the game. Goes over the bar for a goal kick. Try to see who Haggerty replaced. As soon as we get that information, we will get it to you. Looks like Haggerty may have replaced number 27, Brady Dorman. So that's Haggerty for Dorman in the 46th minute. Try to see now if there were any substitutions for FC Copa. Doesn't appear so. This one's heading for the seats. And there's a souvenir for a fan. Off of Lawson's clearance. Number 3 is Dennis Correa. Throw in settled by Prosic. Dispossessed. Torres. Carl up to Hilliard. Hilliard turns. He's got Torres making an overlapping run. Hilliard charges in, takes that 4th touch. And, you know, my coach in high school always said 3 and get rid of it. There's a through ball onside. A shot is wide from Phil Haggerty. And you've got to do better there, Rob. You got to put that one away. It's a golden opportunity here. You may not get another one. And Haggerty puts that one wide.
Yeah, you really got to finish that one. You know, you're going to try to hold off Copa tonight. I mean, Buxmont need a goal. If not, Copa are on the verge of being the first rookie team to make the playoffs in this Keystone Conference.
Substitution.
If they draw tonight, or even if they get a win, Copa clinches a playoff berth. So it's really important for Buxmont to try to hold them off and to try to get a goal.
Second half starting with quite a bit of pressure from FC Copa. They've pushed that line a little bit forward. We'll see how Buxmont reacts. Caleb Williams, Hilliard, has to shake off Correa. Goes to ground, no foul called. There's Burial. Burial leaves that off in the center. A shot is knocked down and gobbled up by Chris Lawson. Sent forward out of danger. I've been impressed with Lawson this year. I know this is your first year with us. Last year, goalkeeper was Jeremy Lee out of Liberty University. Lawson has stepped in to replace him and has, in my opinion, done a very good job of holding his own. Looks like we'll get a double substitution here entering the match. It'll be number 16, number 15. We'll get this information for you. But we can confirm that Mike Prosic is off. And also exiting the match, number 20, Kelvin Preciado. Entering number 16, Kamal John Gurel. And number 15, Brian Machado. Both of those substitutions coming in the 51st minute. Khan looking forward only as far as Edwards. Kasoko heads it forward off the chest of Chase Hovius. They'll look over the top, headed by Gorel. And Campbell Whalen clears for the Buxmont Torch.
You know, as this game goes on, the one player I just keep getting more and more impressed with is Mike Prosic for FC Copa.
Number 15, Brian Machado, and number 16, Kamal John Gorel.
On your screen, he'll be number 14. He's out of Westfield, New Jersey, and goes to St. John's University.
And number 14, Mike Prosic. Both of those substitutions in the 51st minute.
As you know, I bring this up because Mike Prosic was just brought off. He's He was actually brought up through NJ Copa's youth squad. He played through for their U23 team in the EDP. And he's the shining star for Copa tonight, in my opinion. He played a great game, had a nice nutmeg on Kostyakan, and had his fair chances on the ball.
Here's a throw-in, or we'll see it's a corner kick, quickly taken. Number 3, Correa, leaves that one off. There's a poor ball, blocked down by Tommy Kasoko, flicked on by Khalil Carl, out of danger. It'll be settled by Dakota Edwards out of center back. Shot potentially coming here in the 18. Broken up by Caleb Williams, who saves it, plays forward Eric Torres. Torres switches, looking for Jovius, can't get it to him. Jovius plays forward Haggerty, sends Vontez Hilliard on his way. He's got pace and he has positioning, closed off by 2 defenders. Hilliard gives chase, and Vontez Hilliard wins a corner kick, and that's great hustle there and great heart. Vontez Hilliard, Rob, didn't give up on it, persistent, and forced a mistake from FC Copa, some poor communication, and Buxmont Torch chance to threaten here with a corner kick. This portion of the match being brought to you by St. Luke's University Health Network, with 6 hospital locations and 150 physician sites throughout the greater Lehigh Valley and Pocono Mountains. Folks, you know you can trust your family's care to St. Luke's after a century of excellence in medicine. www.slhn.org, 1-866 St. Luke's. Corner taken, Campbell Whalen heads that one into Chris Duggan, who distributes quickly. Kostyakan commands that one on the volley. Back into midfield. Chase Jovius headed forward. And a nifty back heel to Lawrence. Possession taken away. Here's Haggerty. Haggerty with an opportunity to switch, and he's got Torres. Torres into the 18. Torres, one-on-one. Lays off to Tommy Kasoko. He's got to be better with that ball if Buxmont's going to have an opportunity. A little bit more energy on that one. Got to put a little bit more on it. Johnson is shouldered off by Araujo. His shot whistles just wide of the post, and it'll be a goal kick for the Buxmont Torch in the 55th minute. Game opening up here a little bit, Rob. And the Torch have seemingly found a little bit of rhythm here in the second half. Lawrence. Poor ball there, taken by Khalil Carl, who's got about 40 yards in front of him. Jovius. Switch to Williams, who takes a bounce off the turf, off his chest, and it'll go out of bounds, and that'll be a throw-in for FC Copa. FC Copa now coming down the other way. Araujo making a run off the ball. Number 23 is Burial. There's a shot from Araujo harmlessly into the hands of Chris Lawson. And that's where you want him taking shots from. From 25, 30 yards out. Araujo, one touch to Burial. Burial closed out by a host of Buxmont players. And Jovius comes away with it and wins the throw-in. And Rob, if you're Rich Sparling, you have to be pleased with the first 55 minutes of the game. A few missed opportunities, but on the whole, your team has held their own against one of the better sides in the Keystone Conference.
Yeah, I'd certainly be proud, but I really want Buxmont to get a goal here. You know, this would be huge for the club, and they'd be making a really big difference in the playoff hunt for Copa. You know, Copa's just looking for that draw to clinch that playoff berth. So anything Buxmont can do to disrupt that is going to be huge, as Copa gets the free kick called for them. And it looks like they're going to try to play out the back here.
The playoff positions starting to come into a clearer picture here in the NPSL. And again, the top two teams in each region make the playoffs. Right now, as it stands, with 2 games to go, it's a done deal in the Atlantic Conference. Now, the Keystone and the Atlantic historically get drawn against each other in the playoffs. And it looks like that will be more of the same in 2016. Right now, as it stands, the Atlantic Conference is led by the New York Cosmos reserve side, as there is a shot ripped at Lawson. He gobbles that one up. The New York Cosmos reserve side is 11 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 42 goals, 18 allowed, 34 points. And then a newcomer, Rob, is in second place. It's Boston City FC. I know many folks may think the New England Revolution are Boston's club. They actually play at Foxborough Stadium, about an hour southeast of the city limits of Boston. So Boston City is actually the city of Boston's club. They are on 29 points, and they will meet, as it stands right now, Copa and Clarkstown. If things don't shake out any differently and stay the same, the Cosmos will host FC Copa, and Boston City will host Clarkstown in 2 juicy and intriguing playoff matchups for me. Now, I've been around the NPSL for a few seasons, so I've got a little bit more maybe input to it, but it really is something that I look forward to every year, the playoffs, when you get those 2 conferences matched up, when you have the Northeast and the Keystone coming together. 2 years ago, FC Sonic, their final season in the NPSL, lost a heartbreaker to the Brooklyn Italians. There's an opportunity that is wasted from FC Copa. Man down for the Buxmont Torch. And we'll get some medical attention out. But again, the Sonic lost a heartbreaker to the Brooklyn Italians in overtime. It was a wild game featuring coaches from the Italians yelling at media in attendance and vice versa, and owners getting in each other's faces. It was intense. It was fun. You know, you wouldn't think you'd see that at the NPSL level. But there's a lot on the line, and it'll be interesting again just to see how the playoffs shake out. Right now, Clarkstown is on 30 points, Copa on 21, and they can knock, again, Junior Lone Star out of contention with a draw.
No, it's Johnson.
Looks like that's number 9, Andrew Johnson, being tended to. Curious to see if perhaps that contact may have drawn some blood, because the trainer for the Buxmont Torch is holding his head. And we'll see if there will be a substitution for the Buxmont Torch. As we try to take a look at the replay here in the box, there was a cross sent in, and Johnson took a boot to the face on a 50-50 ball. It's hard to say if that's a cardable event. I don't want to say it was a harsh challenge. It was just two guys going for the ball. And this contact will happen. But it will be a restart here for the Buxmont Torch. This portion of the second half being brought to you by the Barnyard Market, located on Route 100 between Macungie and Shimersville. They're open 7 days a week for all of your gardening needs. And tell Boober and his staff that CWTAP sent you, and thank him for working with us here in 2016. Just a reminder also that CWTAP cameras will be making an appearance at the Schnecksville Polish National Alliance Dożynki, their Harvest Festival, on July the 17th. So mark your calendars now. They'll have a polka band, the Naturalistics, and CWTAP cameras, myself and Rob, will be out there as well.
What are your predictions for this game, Alex? The way I'm watching it right now, I'm predicting a 1-0 win either way. Both teams are knocking at each other's doors, and it just seems like someone is eventually going to get a goal in this one. And hopefully, for Buxmont's sake, they're the ones able to get on top here.
I think a mistake will decide this game. The way it's played out thus far, both teams have been pretty solid defensively, pretty impotent offensively. So I do think with another player down, looks like we've got a cramp. And Copa has elected to play on with one of their own players down.
Johnson right back in to stop.
And Johnson was back in, and he stopped the play. And now it's Chris Lawson who will send the ball into touch. And we'll see if the Copa player gets any medical attention. They played forward to Correa, who elected to not play the ball out of bounds. Now, Rob, there's nothing that says you have to play the ball out, especially when it's one of your own teammates that's down. However, general sportsmanship rules will say if the referee is turning back and pointing at your player, you don't send a ball over the top and then take an attempt at goal. You kick it out of bounds. And that might be a little bit of Elizabeth coming out of me where I grew up. But sportsmanship both ways. If the other team stops, the referee turns his head. You don't send a ball over the top and try to score a goal. You play the ball out of bounds.
I always take the opposite approach there. I was always told, playing as a kid, play the whistle, and the whistle wasn't blown, so you just keep on going. It's a little different if a Buxmont player was down. You of course stop the ball for good sportsmanship, but I have no problem with Copa keeping on playing there. You're hard at play, and they might have been able to get a goal. Whether it was morally right or not, it seems the way you're looking at it. But he played the whistle, tried to get a shot on goal. They had an opportunity, and then Chris Lawson did the right thing to kick it out of bounds as Copa went down.
Hey, it's where I come from, where Tony comes at honor. It's honor. You got to be honorable. We'll have a substitution for FC Copa. Exiting the match is number 5, Dakota Edwards. And entering the match is number 4. That's not Sachir Hott. He is listed as number 4. We'll have to see who number 4 is. And Buxmont will look to play the ball out of back. There's miscommunication. That falls to Bariel. Shot right into the confident hands of Chris Lawson. Edwards off. And entering the match is number 4, Modu Sao. Shot and a goal, but we've got an offsides call. And the Torch have caught a break.
Substitution for FC Copa. Number 5, Dakota Edwards is off, replaced by Odu Sui, number 4.
Vontez Hilliard over the ball for the Buxmont Torch. He wins a corner. And midway through the second half here, Rob, another opportunity for Buxmont, and you have to lament that miss from Phil Haggerty just a little bit if you're a Torch fan. But he's also been your rock this season as an attacking midfielder. Torres to take that corner kick. Eric Torres goes far post, no one there. Settled. Played forward, Khan right on Burial, not giving him any breathing room. And with a player of that caliber, Rob, can't give him an inch. You're coming from a first division side in Uruguay. That's one of the better leagues in South America. You can't give him space to turn and shoot, and you can't give him space to turn and even face you and make a move at you and get his momentum going. And Khan has done a great job of closing him down tonight. And I mentioned off the air, I think there's a couple players who can go the Sachem Wilson route on this Buxmont Torch team. Kashta Khan is one of them. And again, we talked about in the first half, I think, Tommy Kasoko definitely is the other. Khalil Carl has the potential to if he can tap into it. But I think a guy like Kashta Khan can go down that route as well. And it's, again, early on Caleb Williams, but he's another one who could go down that route if he stays with it. And Khan, again, has done a very good job here tonight. It'll be a goal kick as the sun sets in Percy and the temperature has dropped considerably. We're no longer sweating in the press box. And this Lasco fan has served us well. It was about $20 in the store. I think that was the purchase of the season for us here at CWTAP.
It's really turned into a beautiful night, Alex. I mean, it was over 91 degrees, and on the turf, it's probably close to 100, if not over it. So as you said, yeah, we stopped in to the old store there, and Alex is about to pick up 2 fans, and we looked at each other and we're like, hey, this is more expensive than that Lasco box fan. So, thank you to CWTAP, we picked up a fan, and as we're walking up to the press box, some fans were like, they got a fan, and here we are sitting in, beautiful night in Percy, Pennsylvania, watching some soccer, and it's just so great to, do this for an internship for me, but for Alex, a job.
There's a hard cross that is settled and cleared by FC Copa. Hovius sees a ball into touch and wins a throw-in. We're in the 70th minute. Throw-in. Headed away and cleared out of danger. David Williams settles, plays to Eric Torres. Williams continues his overlapping run off the chest of Khalil Carl, not out of danger. Haggerty turns, faces, he's got space, shot, fire, and a diving save from Chris Duggan. Great opportunity there for Phil Haggerty. Came on in the 46th minute and making his presence felt here tonight for the Buxmont Torch. Looks like we'll have a substitution coming up for the Buxmont Torch. Corner kick as well. Number 8, that's Mitchell Robinson getting ready to enter. We'll see who leaves the match. but we'll get through this corner kick. Corner kick taken. It goes through untouched, and it will be a goal kick. Looks like Robinson will replace Vontez Hilliard in the 73rd minute. And a good shift tonight from Buxmont Torch's striker. Entering the match for the Buxmont Torch, number 8, Mitchell Robinson, replacing number 26, Vontez Hilliard, in the 73rd minute. Goes into touch. It'll be a throw-in for the Buxmont Torch. And Rob, we spoke to Robinson after the last game. He's got a very interesting story. Comes from a blue-collar, working-class background in Leeds, England. Offside against Caleb Williams. Comes from a working-class family in Leeds. Went through Leeds United academy system and might be the most pedigreed player on this roster this year. And when you bring in a player like that, he'll be playing college soccer in the United States this year, but when you get that type of training at a young age from a club like Leeds, who has such a track record of success in England, it's always a special addition. As Haggerty is over the ball, we'll get your thought in just a moment. Haggerty looks to make a move. He's shouldered away, but wins a corner kick. But again, Rob, that means a lot when you can bring in a player like Robinson from Leeds. His soccer IQ, if you will, is high, and his pace is up there as well. He's got a good motor, and he's a good option right now off the bench for the Buxmont Torch, and he'll only continue to get better. Torres over the ball. Torres plays backwards for Hovius, but they'll say that was out of bounds. But again, what does it mean to have Robinson on the roster?
You know, it's great to see players come over, you know, from overseas, and I think this is a real testament to the academies over there. I mean, I feel like MLS clubs are just starting to get there with their homegrown players. You see that with guys like Sean Davis and Connor Lade with the New York Red Bulls, as MLS academies are just starting to grow. But, you know, I feel like it's been very solid overseas. You see that with Giuseppe Rossi when he was 13 going to Parma's academy out in Italy, and you see it even nowadays with Christian Pulisic, or as you like to pronounce it, Pulisic, to keep that Croatian in there, as he went to Dortmund for their training, and it seems when they come back to the States or wherever they play, that training really sticks with them, and they develop a lot as a player. So to get a guy like him on the team is a huge addition. He played in community college, he was telling us, and it just ended up getting a full ride. Was it Mississippi or Missouri?
Mississippi.
It was Mississippi. So the NPSL is a great place to stop by, you know, get some more game footage and try to get that full ride to a school, or, you know, try to go on and play more semi-pro or even professional football.
And to go back to the youngster who's a Lehigh Valley native, an opportunity here. Tommy Kasoko tracking back. A shot is just wide. That'll be a goal kick for the Buxmont Torch. Youngster Pulisic, as I like to go by, and Sir Ian Dark on NBC Sports, I think he said it best. And I'm going to put on my worst English accent here, so Mr. Dark, I apologize. His grandfather's from Croatia, came to the United States. His name's Pulisic. His name, I agree with Ian Dark. His name's Pulisic because that's how it would be pronounced, where his family came from. But again, if you're a Lehigh Valley person, follow that name, Christian Pulisic. He was born in Easton, grew up in Hershey, and is now starting for Borussia Dortmund in the German Bundesliga. He's just a teenager. He's got a very, very bright future. Williams on the near side, 77th minute, plays forward towards Haggerty. Duggan comes out and gathers. Gorell, one-on-one with Williams. Gorell, that shot takes a deflection, and Chris Lawson comes out and gathers. Kostyakan. And the next time you hear from Rob and I in a soccer capacity, it'll be Monday night on the corner kick. And Rob, we're going to have a lot to talk about. You'll have some Champions League and Europa League games that, well, I guess you guys will probably leave me to talk about. But obviously, Euro 2016 final, Portugal's in it. We'll find out on Thursday who will be joining them, whether it's France or Germany. Here's a dangerous run from Berriel. Shot is blocked, and Williams will gather, and they've been able to shut down the Uruguayan the entire night. Haggerty sees it into touch and gets a throw in, but we'll talk about the Euro final. And out of the 3 teams now left, we'll be down to 2 after tomorrow. Who do you think has the best shot? Do you like France at home? Is it Germany with their precision passing out of the back and through the midfield? Or do you think Portugal survives maybe a Greece situation here? Skin of their teeth, probably don't deserve it, but they'll be the ones to get through?
I see Portugal winning the whole thing, and in terms of France and Germany, I'm going to go with France on this one. Germany didn't look their best against Italy, and I was really pulling for my Italian side. But you did mention Europa League, and I know you love Sachin Wilson out at Gorizia, and he actually got in. I saw he got in the 86th minute in Europa League, and that's huge. You know, former Buxmont player, was the best player on the team last year, and we always talk about him. Went to Slovenia, 3rd division, played 6 games, 1st division Slovenia side, got signed to, and now he is in Europa League, and they'll be the home side, correct, Alex?
They will. They'll be playing at home. That game kicks off on Thursday, so the game will be over by the time you watch this broadcast. It's a 12:30 start as Ryan Peslis comes into the game to replace number 13, Chase Hovius, in the 80th minute. Headed down and cleared away. Robinson chasing, providing some pressure, and not giving up on it. Mitchell Robinson showing that motor as he stays with the ball over the top. Here's Kamal Gorell. Williams shields it into touch, but it'll go out, and it's a corner kick for FC Copa. Kamal John Gorell to take the corner kick for FC Copa. Emerson Lawrence running short, and he'll now peel away and head into the 18. Bodies forward, taken short. One touch, shot over the bar, and it'll be a goal kick for the Buxmont Torch. And again, Rob, you hear Coach Sparling as we're in the final 10 minutes saying no letdowns, no letdowns. This happened the last time we were here, unfortunately. It'll be interesting to see how this team responds tonight.
It was right around this time last game that we saw Buxmont really start to slow it down. I believe it was the 81st minute. They let a goal in to make it 2-1. Buxmont was still in the lead at that time. And then around 90th, maybe some extra time, they let in another to make it 2-2. And that was just a real heartbreak here as they tried to pick up their second win of the season. And you never want to see that. You never want to see a team start to give up towards the end of the game. So if they can remain strong here, who knows? They might be able to pick up a win. But this might be Copa's night. There might be a lot of celebrating tonight for Copa. But we'll see how these next 8 or 9 minutes play out.
And again, a draw puts FC Copa in the playoffs. A loss leaves the door open for Junior Lone Star. But the pressure starting to ratchet up from Copa. Throw-in goes into the box, headed away. Settled by Carl, who has been absolutely fantastic tonight. Mitchell Robinson is dispossessed. Torres trying to provide some help. There's a shot and a diving save from Chris Lawson, who has been on point the entire evening. And here comes Buxmont. They have an opportunity for a counterattack if they move quickly. Peslis, Robinson. Far side. There's a run. A man goes down in the box. And it'll be a corner for the Buxmont Torch. Maybe a little unlucky not to get a penalty there, Rob.
Yeah, towards the end of the game, refs usually, they're not on their feet as much. It kind of seems like it's been a long game. I don't think they like to make calls that late in games, because it's a real decision factor. So maybe for a second there, it should have been a PK. The ref probably waited too long, and that one got by.
Unfortunately, Buxmont fell victim to that the last time we were here, penalty kick in the 92nd minute to take a win away. Torres' corner kick is high and far. Tommy Kasoko will sky and win it, and it is cleared out, settled by Kostya Khan. Khan turns and faces, and it shields away from Araujo, and that will be a throw-in for the Buxmont Torch. Number 9, Andrew Johnson will take the throw-in. He goes in towards the 18. That's headed down. The Torch will have to hustle back. Gorell through the midfield. Plays short. And an opportunity now to build late. Here's Emerson Lawrence on the near side. Emerson Lawrence swings across in. Too far for Araujo. He's able to tap it down. Gorell takes a shot, and Tommy Kasoko comes through with a strong tackle to break it up. Cleared out. It'll be a throw-in. Quickly taken by FC Copa. Bodies behind the ball for the Buxmont Torch. Correa past Torres. Headed away. Not out. There's a shot rifled over the bar by Dan Mendoza, and it'll be a goal kick and a chance here, Rob, now for the Buxmont Torch to take a bit of a breather, try to calm things down. We're now in the 85th minute, so just 5 minutes to go. And some tired men out there for Buxmont. Hands on knees, hands on hips. But again, when you're running out 18, 19-year-olds against grown men, this will happen. We'll play the advantage. Haggerty, far side, Peslis. Peslis looks to make a move. The Lafayette man is stripped. Played to Lawrence. Kasoko will have to get back. Kostya Khan steps in and clears it on the volley. Tommy Kasoko will win the header, and we'll get a foul called against Tommy Kasoko. Quickly taken free kick, and Khalil Carl intercepts that over the top. Here's Haggerty. He's got an opportunity. Haggerty has the ball scooped up by Duggan. Good job to get off his line. Khan will have to track back and defend. Does a good job to contain. Switch to Dennis Correa. Correa looks to make a move. Closed out by Williams. Harmless across the box. Settled down by Peslis, who keeps the ball in bounds. No, he won't. That'll go out, and it'll be a throw-in. 87th minute. Rich Sparling up off his bench for the first time tonight. There's a weak cross that will float harmlessly out of bounds off the boot of Dennis Correa. And it'll be a goal kick for the Buxmont Torch. Lawson puts it back into play. One touch from Haggerty, volleyed back forward by FC Copa. Lawson comes off of his line, scoops that one up. 0-0 in the 88th minute between the Buxmont Torch and FC Copa. Haggerty saves that only as far as FC Copa. Here's Emerson Lawrence. Lawrence leaves that one off. Number 15, Brian Machado. Brian Machado looks a through ball only as far as Khalil Carl. Carl, Haggerty with space. Mitchell Robinson coming forward for the Buxmont Torch. Here's Haggerty. Haggerty looks to make a move, lays off Khalil Carl. Carl's inside the 18. Back to Haggerty. Haggerty cuts it to his left foot, cleared away. Here's Torres. Eric Torres on the near side. Torres, Khalil Carl. Carl with space. Carl looks to switch and does to Peslis. Peslis off the chest and sends it across. That's blocked and it'll be a throw-in for the Buxmont Torch as we enter the 89th minute. 0-0 on the scoreboard. And FC Copa just 1 minute away from a playoff berth. Andrew Johnson will come to take a throw-in for the Buxmont Torch. And we'll see if he goes into the center of the 18. He does into the 6. Punched away by Chris Duggan, and it will be a corner kick for the Torch. And the pressure is on. Eric Torres and Peslis over the corner kick. Six men in the box for the Buxmont Torch as Torres lines up an in-swinger. Torres sends his corner kick in, far post. It goes out of bounds, and that'll be a goal kick for FC Copa.
This is about as intense as it gets, Alex. You know, it's 0-0 still with about a minute or so left to play. Copa's just trying to hold on for this draw to get this playoff berth, and really it's going to be the first time ever in their rookie year in the Keystone Conference to get to the playoffs. Can Buxmont upset it? Here we go.
Robinson lays that one off to Torres. Torres shot far post, off the post, and just out, and that'll be a throw-in for FC Copa. And Eric Torres came within inches of ruining the party for FC Copa. The referee will blow his whistle and call Kashta Khan over. We'll try to sort this mess out now. Looks like Khan went up and won the ball. The referee will call both of them over, and it'll be a free kick for FC Copa as we're now in stoppage time. And they'll have to sweat it out for their playoff berth in their inaugural season. It'll be either Boston City or the New York Cosmos reserve side who won the NPSL in 2015. Cleared away by Johnson. Headed backwards, Robinson providing pressure. Here comes Phil Haggerty. Launched forward, over the top, cleared away once again by Andrew Johnson, who's done a fantastic job at center back. The referee blows the final whistle, and FC Copa will make the playoffs in their inaugural season in the Keystone Conference. They will be the first team to make the playoffs as an expansion team in the Keystone Conference in their first season, and will take on either Boston City or the New York Cosmos reserve side on the road in the NPSL playoffs, and for all intents and purposes will be a heavy underdog against either. For the Buxmont Torch, they'll have one more match to wind out the 2016 season. That will be on Sunday at 5 p.m. home against Greater Binghamton. Our cameras, unfortunately, will not be at this match due to prior commitments. However, we encourage all of our viewers and fans to come on out and support the Buxmont Torch in their final home match of the 2016 season. Rob, since this is the end of our coverage for 2016, I want to take this time now to get your final thoughts on the season, and to get a little bit of a wrap-up, and to also thank you and congratulate you on a job well done with CWTAP here for the NPSL season in 2016. Just give us some thoughts from Junior Lone Star, which was the first game, to now, to the end, a 0-0 tie with playoff-bound FC Copa. And just where do you think this team has come from the first game to the last game?
Well, we saw a ton of growth this season, as Buxmont definitely played a lot of great teams with a lot of great players. One that comes to mind, or actually a couple, Anthony Allison from Junior Lone Star, another Hardy Pinto, I believe, from Electric City. Am I correct on that one? Yes, I am. And Buxmont really grew as a team. You know, there was a lot of turnover from last year, only a couple guys still around. So, yeah, at the beginning it was really tough, you know. They didn't have the hottest start to the season, and I think they turn around in terms of chemistry on the field, and it's really nice to see. You know, the team really glued together. You saw two new guys on the back line today who didn't get a ton of playing time this year, and they stepped in their role perfectly. I thought at first they were going to have a little a shaky start, but they fit in nicely, and it turned out to be great. I thought Brady Dorman at forward today from Cairn University had a great game. You know, first time really seeing him up there, and it was nice to actually he played midfield. I'm sorry, it was just Vontez Hilliard up top by himself, but I thought he had a great game too. Buxmont, that's the one word I can think of from this season since we started covering them against Junior Lone Star is the growth. This team really grows as the season goes on, and just the end here, as you see, you know, the prayer circle, and afterwards they always invite the opposing team and even all the fans and even us, you know, to go out to eat with them. So it's a great sense of community here in Buxmont, and I think next year, you know, if a lot of these guys stick around and they can pick up, you know, one or two ringers, so to speak, this team could be really dangerous. And I just like to say congrats to Copa, you know, being the first rookie team in the Keystone Conference to clinch a playoff berth. That's absolutely huge, and you could tell that the organization is run very professionally, and it's been great to cover Buxmont this year. So Alex, I appreciate you having me along. It's been a lot of fun, and let's hope they have a good time next year, and hopefully we'll be back.
I don't think I could put it any better, Rob. I want to thank you again for joining us this summer. Obviously, we're not done. We've got another couple of weeks to go with you. We'll be out at Dojinki. We'll be going to Music Fest. We'll be out at Kutztown a little bit more. We've got a handful of events right at the end of the summer as well. We'll be up Holy Family Club for Walt Gruller. It's going to be a fun next couple of weeks. But as far as the soccer aspect of it goes, I think we did see a lot of growth in Buxmont this year. It was a team that only brought back 5 players from last year. Lost Nick Morris to the semi-pro ranks, where he's getting a little pay to play now with the Philadelphia Fury. Several other players didn't come back for one reason or another. Transfers, simply hanging it up, graduating college, moving on. You had Shane Jones, who was a center back last year, didn't come back this year. Jeremy Lee, so goalkeeper was a question mark coming into this year. Chris Lawson established himself early. Kostya Khan established himself at right back, and I think the rest of the team just kind of grew from there. The on-field results, maybe not there this year, but when you bring in so many new players, it's tough to get that result. But I think what we saw out of players like Vontez Hilliard, Khalil Carl, Tommy Kasoko, who were the returners, was that leadership and consistency that they needed to fill, especially with Nick Morris leaving the club, especially, obviously, first and foremost, with Sachem Wilson leaving the club. it left that hole, and these guys stepped in and filled it. And I mean it when I think guys like Khalil Carl, Tommy Kasoko, Vontez Hilliard, Kostya Khan, they could have a future as professionals, be it in this country or overseas. And honestly, this is a big world. They may have a better shot overseas than in our own country. And I don't know if you want to say sad to say, but most of the leagues in this country that are the pro leagues are over 50% foreigners. So their shot may be in Slovenia. It might be in Moldova. It might be in Wales or Northern Ireland. But they are good enough. You can see the potential that if they carry out that route and see it through, these guys can be professional players at a pretty high level. And look at Sachem. He played in Tel Aviv. Now, there's a good chance, because Goritza probably is eliminated because they lost 3-0 to Maccabi. He's going to start tomorrow in the Europa League. And a year ago, he was here in front of 500 people. And a week ago, at this time, he played in front of 20,000. You can get there. And I think Rich Sparling has proven that his program, the on-field aspect, can get you there. Off the field, there's nothing you can't say about this organization in terms of its mission, its goal. I think it's in line with a lot of what we do at CWTAP, and their faith-centered approach and just everything they do in the community, the camps and all of that for the underprivileged kids in Philadelphia, the camps in the suburban areas where they get a lot of their funding from. We wish them all the best. And I think that, good Lord willing, we'll be back here to work with them next year. But I do want to thank you again for joining us.
I appreciate it, Alex. And the one thing that really stuck out to me when we talked to Robinson after last game was, a big reason he was here was because of the ministry aspect and the whole off-the-pitch experience. So it's really good to see a team like Buxmont, really try to help these players not only on the field but in their faith, and that's one of their biggest goals. And I think they accomplish that, every year that they're in the NPSL.
Absolutely, no doubt. Again, I just want to thank you one more time. We'll thank Tony D for doing a great job as our cameraman this season. We'd like to thank our CWTAP sports sponsors, Antonio's Pizzeria in the 25th Street Shopping Center in Easton, the College Hill Tavern, 420 Cattell Street in Easton, the Barnyard Market, located on Route 100 between Macungie and Shimersville, and St. Luke's University Health Network, with 6 hospitals and 150 physician locations throughout the greater Lehigh Valley and a century of excellence in medicine. Folks, you can trust your family's care to the fine folks at St. Luke's. I do, and so can you. For more information, give St. Luke's a call. They're our principal sponsor, 1-866-St. Luke's. Check them out online, www.slhn.org. St. Luke's University Health Network, setting a standard of excellence in medicine for over 100 years. Most importantly, we'd like to thank you, the viewer at home, because if you did not watch our broadcasts and you did not support our sponsors, we would not be here. So thank you once again. The final score from Percy, FC Copa 0, the Buxmont Torch 0. For Anthony Delisio, Rob Celentano, and our entire CWTAP sports team, I'm Alex Fidrashevsky. Good night and God bless from CWTAP.